Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. We are joined by Click OK, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Yo.
Yo. How's it going?
Oh, it was going good. I listened to this nonsense this morning about Ether.
Okay, so in the first, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of the pre-show, we've been covering Karen B and her response to an email she got from Will Duffy. I also got that same email, I just didn't read it. So we've gone through that in the pre-show. I've got quite sweary with her because she's irritating and suggesting that we haven't got any proof of flat Earth when they, TFE crew, measured Earth flat in Antarctica. So when I had my phone call to tell me that there was no guns, the deflection was away from the measurements of a flat Earth in the form of elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period. Elevation is off the surface. The surface level forms part of the angle to the sun that was measured for a 24-hour period off a flat Earth. So Earth is measured flat by TFE. Now, from what I've just heard in an email that has been sent out by Will Duffy, including to myself, as I say, I just hadn't read my copy because I'm not interested in anything that's being communicated with me by anybody in this subject matter currently, because we measure Earth flat and it's been confirmed by the people at TFE and then reconfirmed by Simon Dan 1,000 times. So there's really not much interest in discussion with these people, for me at least, given that we measure Earth flat and have always measured Earth flat, and Karen B should really know that. Whereas her rhetoric is, we've measured Earth not to be a ball, which, as far as I'm concerned, makes us seem like a shill. Because to suggest that we've measured Earth to not be something is ludicrous. I don't measure horses not to be unicorns. That's absurd. Now, if someone wants to suggest to me that they are unicorns, then the burden is on them to prove that positive assertion. I'm not going to go around disproving the alleged proof of unicorns that I'm not out to prove. I, on the other hand, know Earth's measured flat, so it kind of becomes inconsequential what any of you numpties who think that there's a justification to go to Antarctica again, or maybe debate what you experimented down there. I mean, you can do that. My name's Nathan Oakley. I give you my permission to debate about the flat Earth measurements that you will use to debate about whether or not it's a ball. So you have my permission to use your flat Earth measurements that you measured in Antarctica off a flat Earth. Okay? We're all good. We don't need any help from you, thanks. We know it's measured flat. You measured it. We measured it. Everyone measured it. Earth's measured flat. So the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. Other than it was never in any bag, Earth was always being measured flat by everyone anyway. So this kind of becomes a bit benign. But you bunch of muppets can go and argue with idiots like Karen B, who doesn't seem to understand that Earth is measured flat. I mean, knock yourselves out. You've got my permission to use our flat Earth measurements that you measured in Antarctica, by the way. You're okay. I will allow it.
She won't use them, though, Nathan. What she focuses on,
I don't care.
reading from that book, is the movement of the celestials to refute the movement of Earth. It's a joke. Electricity, magnetism, and then it eventually goes to the luminiferous ether at the 36-minute mark.
I'm already bored. So, I mean, as fascinating as it might be for me to listen to Karen B waffle on about Bigfoot or ether or TFE, we in the actual flat Earth community know Earth is measured flat and could give a toss about any speculations or beliefs. Yeah, we're kind of beyond that now. I mean, as condescending as it may sound, we used to be where you are. Dabbling with idiots thinking there's a debate about Earth when it's measured flat. What we actually now have to contend with is idiots who want to tell us we're wrong, going out and measuring Earth flat to prove us wrong. I mean, just as one example, Simon Dan. Or TFE themselves. You know, these guys are wrong. They say Earth's flat. So what we're going to do is go and measure Earth flat for 24 hours off surface level. It's part of the angle. Now, alternatively, you, not me, you guys can do this apart from me. You can say, no, they weren't measurements of Earth. We didn't use surface level as part of the angle, in which case you've got no measurements. Not that I care. I've just given you permission to use those flat Earth measurements that you will use because you measured them off a flat Earth. So why are you debating? Oh, yeah, to create the illusion that there's a debate. Now, we've moved on. Maybe you didn't understand that. You're emailing me, Duffy. You don't need to email me anymore. We checked Earth's measured flat. You checked Earth's measured flat, Duffy. So thanks. Not that I needed you to confirm what we already knew, but you did anyway. Good for you. But that doesn't involve me anymore. You going and measuring Earth flat, you can do that without me. Like Dan, Simon Dan. He didn't need my help to go and measure elevation angles off surface level 1,000 times. He just went out and measured Earth flat of his own volition. Now, obviously, in his deluded idiot mind, he thought he was debunking flat earthers and affirming Earth's sphericity with 1,000 flat Earth measurements. But that's because he's a retard. Now, I can't help that, and I want no part of this anymore. You bunch of retards arguing about how flat Earth measurements may or may not work on a flat Earth, that's idiotic, and I'm done with it. But, I mean, good for you. Maybe go back to Antarctica and measure Earth flat again with more elevation angles. I don't know. Do whatever you like. I don't care. When you're debating, though, you do have my permission to use the flat Earth elevation angles that get measured off Earth's surface level. Surface level. So we're all clear. Earth gets measured with a surface level, because that's what it is. We checked Earth's measured flat. Well, just one more. You checked Earth's measured flat. If we want to listen to this ether nonsense, we will.
Vast electric body circling around and over the Earth, and its motions may be known by experiment and observation. It is well known by those...
What, the same observation and experiment that you didn't know wasn't an experiment down in Antarctica? Down being something that's alleged in antipodal positioning, something we cover, the actual flat earthers. But here we are using this to allege you luminiferous ether. I'm thinking no.
Told you.
Yeah, no. This luminiferous ether shit can stop right now. We measure Earth flat, Karen. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you can sod off out of this community because you're not part of it. You're here to peddle garbage to idiots. Other idiots like you. Now, you become a useful idiot when you get involved with people like Duffy. You go out and measure Earth flat and then argue about how those flat Earth measurements might not work on a flat Earth that they've measured flat. Now, you can be a useful idiot for the Bigfoot community. Maybe create your own little ether community where you allege that you've got science. You haven't. You're a charlatan. A shitbag that I'm sick of people like you being in my community. My flat Earth community where everyone around me knows it's measured flat. That's not you, though, is it, Karen? So sod off. Go and talk about Bigfoot. Go and flog this shit that you're peddling here to the Bigfoot people, not to flat earthers, because it's a disgrace.
Who study the laws of electricity and magnetism, that if an electric current be made to circle around any body, that body becomes magnetic by induction.
If you're hearing this shit and you're a flat earther, know this. There are people on the internet, that's me, who say Earth is measured flat. And when we say it, our opponents go and confirm it for us 1,000 times. When you're hearing about electricity and magnetism in the flat Earth subject arena, if you don't hear ding, 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 then you're a moron. What should you be hearing if you're listening to a flat Earth video? Well, about Earth, specifically Earth. Not the luminiferous ether or stars, because that's not the Earth, now is it? Yeah, but that's what these charlatans and shitbags will do if you're not very bright. They'll take advantage of you. Karen's taking advantage of you if you don't realise that she's not talking about an Earth that's measured flat. confirmed by my opponents when I point it out. She's telling you about electricity and magnetism, just like other charlatans and shitbags that go on Netflix and say that there's problems with flat Earth. There isn't. It was always being measured flat, but the shills will create an illusion of debate. And the useful idiots, the people who are stupid, that's Karen in this case, unless she's maliciously doing this, but we'll just assume she's stupid, don't recognise how Earth gets measured flat and instead focus on luminiferous ether with alleged science. She's just a fraud. You know, by extension, if she's reading this crap off the page and alleging it's science, that makes her a fraud. She takes ownership of this crap, and I'm calling her a fraud. I'm a flat earther who talks about how Earth gets measured flat, and my opponents confirm it. She'll talk to you about magnetism and electricity like it has something to do with Earth's surface when she's looking up at the lights in the sky. Know your charlatans, ladies and gentlemen. If people are talking about Earth being flat, then they're flat earthers. If they're talking about this, they're scumbags.
Thus, in the daily revolution of the sun around the Earth, we have a physical cause which accounts for the magnetism of the Earth.
Meanwhile, the sun that rotated around Antarctica got measured off the surface level with angles that proved Earth was being measured flat for a 24-hour period. So rather than talking about how Earth gets measured flat, and will always be measured flat, we're talking about how the magnetism affects the sun in the luminiferous ether. Know your charlatans. What you are listening to currently is a shitbag. Now, I don't care if you don't like me swearing. I'm going to say it like it is. She's a shitbag. She's a fraud. She's a con man. That's what she is. Because she's not talking to you about the Earth, is she? She's talking about the sky, the lights, the magnetism, the electricity, the luminiferous ether. It's not Earth. Earth, meanwhile, gets measured flat, with the sun, with an angle to it off the surface level measured by the guys at TFE. Why is she talking about this? It's a video response to an email she's got from another charlatan fraud who went and measured Earth flat in Antarctica. So we're clear. We, that's flat earthers, talk about Earth being flat and prove it with measurements, undermining any notion that there is a debate because our opponents also confirm how flat Earth will be measured. And when they measure Earth flat, our opponents, not us, they'll say that that's okay because there's negligible curvature, that it's okay to use basic trig and flat approximations when surveying, that's measuring, Earth flat. So we're flat earthers here at Flat Earth Debate. The namesake of the show only exists because there's numpties like Karen perpetuating the notion that there's a debate when it was always being measured Earth, that is, flat. So make no mistake, people who talk about Earth being flat are flat earthers. People who talk about luminiferous ether are charlatans.
If the sun were to leave the heavens and cease revolving...
Sorry, I'm not talking about if the Earth stopped being the Earth. I'm talking about how we measure it. It's always measured flat. There are no exceptions. Anybody who challenges me, like Dan, will go out and measure it flat 1,000 times. It's not what Karen's doing, is it? I hope I'm opening and broadening the eyeballs of a few people listening to this. Yeah? I hope you're going, yeah, you're kind of right. She's not talking about Earth at all. She's talking about shite. Speculative garbage that she's got no proof of. While we're talking about how Earth was always being measured flat by everyone and still is. When they go out and allege that they're disproving flat Earth, they measure it flat. That's what we're talking about.
The magnetic currents of the Earth would rapidly die out. Furthermore, if we were to seek for a physical cause of the daily revolution of the sun, we would find that it is bodily carried around by the ether, which is in rapid and continual circulation over the Earth.
Right, baseless assertion fallacy. This is pure speculation by a moron. Meanwhile, we measure Earth flat. Want an example? TFE. Want a different example? Simon Dan and his 1,000 participants who took elevation angles off surface level. That means we've got a surface level. That means Earth's flat as per the measurements of Earth. By every single measurement of Earth ever without exception. I know, maybe I should talk about luminiferous ether. Maybe I should talk about free energy and how the lights in the sky rotate. Maybe that's what I should talk about when we're measuring Earth flat. Yet these people are shills. They've all exposed themselves. Karen's no frickin' different. She's not talking about Earth being flat, so she's not a flat earther. She's a shill talking about something that's not flat Earth. There you go, oh, you call her a shill, you got proof of a paycheck. No, she's shilling for something that isn't flat Earth, isn't she? That's what she's doing. She's shilling for ether. That's not flat Earth. Flat Earth is the Earth that got measured flat in Antarctica with the elevation angles. That's elevation. That's off the surface. Angles, 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex. One's the surface level. Those are the measurements of Earth that I rely upon. What, you don't want them to be measurements? Maybe you can call them approximations, but that means you haven't got any Earth measurements. Oh, you like them as Earth measurements? Then you're measuring Earth flat. Well, maybe you could get someone else to go and confirm it, because just one measurement of Earth flat for 24 hours with surface level angles to the sun, that's not good enough. Maybe if you went out and did it all across the surface of Earth with 1,000 elevation angles instigated by one man called Simon Dan. Maybe that would be enough for you. Or maybe it'd be better if dickheads like this clown here, Karen, argue with people like Will about how Earth might or might not have an ether, rather than how flat we are all measuring it. Because then there's an illusion of a debate, isn't there? Yeah, that's the game. That's all we're going to point out from here forward. Everybody who doesn't point out Earth is measured flat will get called shills, because that's all you need to do. It puts an end to the discussion. There is no discussion when your opponent measures Earth flat. What am I going to do if Dan sat in front of me? Oh, what, I don't debate people, Dan? Yeah, you do. You debated me on Twitter and lost immediately, didn't you, Dan? You and your reference frames have been ruined. That'd be Dan debating with me. He's a liar. He debates, he just loses. But what would he say if he came here to actually debate Earth's surface? What would he say? Yeah, okay, we do measure Earth flat for 50k. That's okay, though, Nathan. It's because of the negligible curvature. All right, Dan. So, to be clear, Dan, you measure Earth flat for 50k because you don't have any curvature. So, we measure Earth flat. Okay, Dan, it looks like there's no point in me being here, really. You understand already we measure Earth flat. This is your rebuttal? To go out and measure it flat 1,000 times? That's not much of a rebuttal, son. It just makes you a wanker. Because the whole time you're pointing out I'm wrong with a flat Earth measurement in tow. So you're a bunch of clowns who I'm done with, right? There's no other conclusion to come to when someone like Simon Dan goes out and measures Earth flat 1,000 times to tell me I'm not correct about the flat surface level that was measured by him. You're just idiots. Now, I don't want to be associated with you people. Now, you want to pour scorn on this flat earther says this and this flat earther. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, the flat earthers that are in name only are the idiots like Karen that are just Bigfoot experts and ether experts. None of them talk about flat earth. We do. The ones that get the calls from Antarctica to talk about guns. We are flat earthers, but we actually talk about Earth being flat and then prove it with our opponent's measurements of Earth's surface level, which they measure for angles. So we're proving Earth's flat over here. These dickheads are going to lie to you about free energy and ether.
Thus, the Creator has solved the problem of perpetual motion, or rather has given us an example of perpetual motion.
She's just said God solved the problem of motion. She's a retard. Just unsubscribe from this utter batshit insane white witch. Because that's what she is. She's babbling on about God having solved problems. Sorry, you've spoken to God, have you, Karen? Meanwhile, we're proving Earth gets measured flat with our opponent's measurements, you dick. Get out of my community. What are you even doing here?
The solution of which man has hitherto tried in vain to discover. If ever it be found out by man, we may venture to predict that it will be found only in connection with some circulating electric body or a circulating current of electricity inducing magnetic action.
I'll just say it again. Earth's measured flat. Karen's not a flat earther. You'll hear Earth being measured flat over here. Over there, you'll hear about your luminiferous ether and your God solving his problems of sun movement. Okay. Just know Earth's measured flat, okay? You want proof? Go and ask anybody who opposes me ever for their measurement, and it'll be flat.
This circulation of the ether was advocated in the Earth for September 1900. The ether was there said to be in a state of constant flux, like a great...
They're said to be advocated for. What, so someone argued for this shit, did they? Oh, really? The unicorns were advocated for. They were said to be in existence. Okay, that's fascinating. But beyond the baseless assertion fallacy that we've got an ether, it doesn't exist, does it? Yeah, it's just shite. It's just nonsense. She's just making it up. Yeah? Because she takes ownership of this shit now. It's hers. So she's a fraud. This isn't backed by science. That's what she opened with. So she is a fraud. Karen's a fraud. Unsubscribe from her. Right? It's not going to be tolerated like it used to be tentatively tolerated from dicks like Bob before he was alleged to die. After being mic'd up and accidentally suggesting that there was problems with Earth rotation based on his faulty gyroscopic drift, which doesn't occur. Gyros remain rigid in space. It's why they're useful. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat by every single Earth measurement ever. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about this luminiferous, if I could say it, ether. No. What we will do is expunge wankers from the flat Earth community on this time around. No, we won't tolerate people like Bob babbling on about luminiferous ether. Said it right this time. Or magnetism and electricity. Earth's measured flat. Who gives a shit about your luminiferous ether? Finally got my tongue around it. Nobody, that's the answer. If Earth's measured flat and we're in a flat Earth debate and everybody's measuring it flat, then that kind of draws a close to the suggestion there was ever a debate to have. Everyone measures it flat. What are these dicks waffling on about? Ether? Why? Who cares? That's because they're shills. They're not here to talk about flat Earth, are they? Because they're not. She's going to bullshit you and fraud you with this garbage based on who's advocating for it. I couldn't give a crap. Advocating? It's gone from scientific validity in terms of the inference by language to, oh, well, this person advocated for it. They said it was... Oh, really? That's what we got, is it? Someone said it? Yeah, that's what we've got. Yeah. Don't care. We've got measurements of Earth. We checked. It's flat. They checked. It's flat. Everybody measures it flat. The illusion came from us arguing, if we're called flat earthers, that Earth isn't a ball. And have other dicks who are questioning their own faith in heliocentrism argue that it is a ball with their flat Earth measurements, like Dan and Dave and Duffy have measured. So we're clear that's the illusion. Everybody accepts that Earth is measured flat, but one side argues that the flat Earth measurements create a ball, and the other side say that the flat Earth measurements don't prove a ball. Because everyone's using flat Earth measurements at surface level to say we see too far if you're a flat earther. Why the hell you'd be doing that when we measure Earth flat? Who cares about how far you allege we see based on ball Earth maths? The ball Earth maths measured Earth flat too. It's right there in the maths at surface level. But no one's pointing it out, are they? Yeah? The closest Karen's come is by saying we measure Earth not to be a ball. What a crock of shit. She's a shill. Expunge this fraud from your life.
Great stream continually going around the north center or so-called pole, carrying all heavenly bodies with it at various heights according to their varying densities. In fact, it was represented as a sort of a vortex motion.
I just say it again. Earth's measured flat. Our opponents have verified it. They checked. It's flat. You could, alternatively, listen to this babbling witch waffle on about luminiferous ether and magnetism. Alternatively, no Earth's measured flat. Then you won't waste any time with these frauds and charlatans and con men. That's what Karen is. She's a con man. She's conning you. This is shit. Now, if you're taken in by this shit after knowing that Earth is measured flat, then you're an idiot. You're easily duped. And that's what they rely on. Con men, like Karen here. She relies on you being stupid. Not realising that when you've come for the flat Earth, you're getting something very different, aren't you?
Vortex motion and gravitation.
Well said, Karen. You come for the flat Earth and you get the vortex motion, don't you? Yeah? That don't sound like a flat Earth. Vortex motion? Luminiferous ether? Ka-ching, finally got it. They sent flat Earth, witch! Me, I'm telling you to get lost now. Go away, Karen. Nobody wants you here. The actual flat earther's the one who know it's flat. You already confessed on this video that you couldn't prove it. So you're not useful then. So get lost. Go and hang around with idiots who you can peddle ether to. People who believe in Bigfoot. That's not us. Yeah, the people who know it's flat don't want this crap peddled to them. We're calling you out as a fraud and telling others about how fraudulent you are. Yeah? With your motions and your magnetism and your non-Earth-based evidence in a flat Earth arena. Yeah, the flat Earths have got a bit sick of you now. Now we're telling you to get lost. We'd rather people just talk about how Earth is flat.
When Sir Isaac Newton suggested or invented or formulated the idea of universal...
But you're using Newton, right? The laws of motion of Newton were not right. End quote. Richard Feynman. You're talking about guys with out-of-date 110-year superseded gravity. This is the appeal from flat earthers. They're using the shit that we debunked, that heliocentrists inferred gas go down, go boom, boom with 110 years ago. That's the standard from these charlatans. That's right, she's using Newton. Okay? Now, the people in the modern scientific community, if you want to call that anthropomorphization of a method, a community, no, Newton isn't right. Meanwhile, Karen the fraud's going to appeal to this shit, isn't she? Because she's frauding you. She's conning you. She is a charlatan. She's not a flat earther. That's us. The ones who talk about Earth being measured flat and rub our opponents' faces in their flat Earth measurements. That's us, not her.
Universal gravitation, eminent mathematicians and philosophers opposed the idea and suggested certain theories of vortex motion or motions around a number of vortices to account for celestial phenomena. And this was done too with the idea of displacing the theory of gravitation.
I'll do it every time. Earth's measured flat, by the way. You could listen to Karen waffle on in a witch-like nature about gravity, luminiferous ether, magnetism, vortexes. You can listen to this crap all day long if you wish to waste your time with frauds. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat, and every time she babbles on about this unproven nonsense, I'll point out the actual subject she's alleging to be in is about Earth being flat. And I point out that the people that this video is titled The Namesake is Duffy and his TFE crew who measured Earth flat. And it was affirmed, backed up by the elevation angles taken 1,000 times across the entirety of the surface of the plane we live on, by Simon Dan. So I don't really know why Karen's getting involved. She didn't even have any evidence that she could even suggest she could prove an Earth that's flat with it. She said she didn't know. So based on that, she's being told to get lost. And you, the audience, if you're still listening to this crazy cow, why? Yeah? You just like being conned, do you? You just like frauds? Yeah, Earth's flat. Yeah, this is garbage. You're listening to garbage. That's what you're listening to.
Our space will only allow us barely to mention such names as Kepler, Descartes, and Huygens. But these men, while on the right track, if we may so speak, were weighted and hampered by the incubus of the globular theory. Once we have proved by practical experiment that the Earth is a plane...
Earth is a plane is not a scientific inquiry, right? Let's just humiliate Karen because she's an utter clown and a fraud, right? Scientific inquiry elucidates the cause of a naturally occurring phenomena. That's to say, something occurs, that's something happening, and you go, I wonder what caused that. Then, based on your dependent variable, that's the phenomena you observed. Half your hypothesis is the observation of a natural phenomena. Yeah? Dependent variable. Sorry, Earth as a plane. Is that a variable? No, she's a witch. She's a fraud. Unsubscribe. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's conning you. To suggest Earth as a plane, that's a concrete noun, not a phenomena, can be scienced, proves beyond all doubt that you aren't in your right mind if subscribed to charlatans and con men and frauds like Karen B. Science elucidates the cause of a naturally occurring phenomena based on systematic experimentation, actualization of scientific prediction, otherwise known as hypothesis. That's independent variable, presumed cause of the naturally occurring phenomena, being varied by a researcher to see if it causes the effect you observed at step one. That's an experiment, the actualization of a scientific prediction. Now me, a flat earther who talks about Earth being flat, only know this so I can expose frauds on the globe side and on the alleged shill flat Earth con man side. That's Karen, just like Jaron and Bob and all of the other ether grifting con men we've experienced for 10 years. We talk about Earth being measured flat, and it's confirmed by our opponents. You measure Earth flat, right, Dan? You measure Earth flat, right, Dave? Let's get Ryan close for the camera for this one. You measure Earth flat, don't you, Toon? Yeah? You all measure Earth flat. So we've confirmed it, and the charlatans and grifters and con man shills like Karen will sell you an ether. That's what they'll do. So now you know the game. Now you know the grift. Now you know what to look out for. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to summarize it right now. If someone's talking about Earth being flat, they're a flat earther. If they're talking about ether, that's stuff that's not about the Earth being flat, then they're a con man, a grifter, a shill, a charlatan. Why? Because they're not talking about the subject. Earth being flat by way of measurements. Now, when I, a flat earther, a legitimate, genuine flat earther, someone who has dedicated his life to the subject at his detriment, talks about the subject of Earth being flat, I'll point it out and my opponents will confirm it. Dan will confirm it with elevation angles to the sun he measured 1,000 times. Dave and Toon and McDuffie will all also confirm the elevation angle measurements off a flat surface level. They all measured Earth flat within Antarctica. There's no getting away from it. So know your shills. If they're talking about flat Earth, it's probably quite good. If they're not, they're not. It's just that simple.
And a vast magnet, we are open to receive a better idea of vortex motion and the untenable nature of the gravitation theory.
Earth's measured flat.
But coupled with the lately proved fact, the sun, for at least 6 months of the year, circles around the southern pole, we are now compelled to admit that there are two ethereal...
Sorry, why are we moving past the fact that when the sun circles, we measure Earth flat with it? Because that's what happened. Yeah? What's that? Can you hear that? Where are the guns, Nathan? Who gives a shit? You measured Earth flat, didn't you? Yeah, they did. So what, we're going to question whether or not it works on a model? They're shills. Karen's a shill. She's a fraud. Just unsubscribe from her. Now, when it happened the first time around and the second time around and the third time around with these shills punting ether, and we told you, yeah, recognise these idiots for what they are, and you went, no, they're good people. They've got some good flat Earth evidence, have they? Where is it? Is it coming through the luminiferous ether? I'm thinking no. Is it the vortex motion that's good at flat Earth evidence? No, it's not. No. Fool you once. Yeah? If you're still there, you're just a retard, as far as I'm concerned, right? And I've got no sympathy for you anymore. Yeah? We've told you what to look out for, and it ain't complicated. If people are talking about Earth being flat and proving it with measurements, then they're all right. If they're talking about a luminiferous ether and vortex motion, then there's a good chance that they're a con man and a shill.
Vortices instead of one ethereal vortex as we formerly supposed, but the subject is too great to be encompassed within the limits of one or two articles. We can at present only indicate the general outline of these forces or causes of celestial motion. We reckon.
Right, the celestial motion is measured with respect to a flat plane of reference with elevation angles. All of the motions are logged and tracked off a flat Earth. Karen's never going to tell you that. She's a shill. She's a con man. She's going to grift you with ether. I'll tell you that this motion she's just detailed explicitly measures Earth flat. So what are you going to do?
Nathan, I can't. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I'm just saying, I'm not watching this. I'm listening. But is she reading? Sounds like she's reading from a script. So is she just talking naturally, or is she reading from a book or something?
Yeah, she's reading from a book. It doesn't matter.
Right.
This becomes hers.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, correct.
Recommends Aesthetics to study the kindred sciences of electricity and magnetism if they would arrive at a clear conception of the motions of the heavenly bodies.
I'll just say it again. Science is a study of the physical and natural world. So unless we're talking about natural magnetism or natural electricity, then no. And if you are, then your first step is observe natural phenomena. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get this information from Karen.
Speaking generally, we may state that the stars in the southern circle move in circles around the southern center.
Those would require we take measurements of Earth and its surface for the angles with respect to them, when we track them, when we measured them. Like I keep saying on this show, Earth was always being measured flat. Here's an example of it. Is Karen B talking about, at the first opportunity, like I am, Earth being measured flat with this example? No, this example's being used to grift ether, isn't it? So I'm interjecting with a flat earth measurement. Isn't she supposed to be a flat earther? No, she's not. She's an ether grifting shill. Like all the ones have come out the woodwork to say, oh, what do you know? It was a ball. So they punted you ether and we told you beware. Then they came out as ballers. And now here we are, still with ether grifting scumbags, taking examples that utilise a flat earth measurement and ignoring it to grift ether. What scum? Just unsubscribe. We've told you to do it before. We'll tell you to do it again when it happens. And it'll continue to happen. There'll always be people like Karen here to punt and grift ether. Instead of pointing out the flat earth measurement associated with what she's talking about, she won't do that. Yeah? Maybe she'll tell you we measured it not to be ball-shaped.
And while those in the north move around the north center, the sun...
Sorry, north is a unilaterally flat earth only direction. We haven't used a compass, Karen. I mean, I can get a compass and go, let's have a look at north. Down. No, it's not. It's a flat earth direction. So the moment you say north, the discussion ends. It's a flat earth only direction used on flat maps. With the stars that are measured with flat angles. And the sun that's measured also with elevation angles. For every single measurement we've ever took to it ever, Earth was flat. And still is. Do you want an example? Oh, TFE. Yeah? It's why I couldn't give a crap about email responses from these clowns that go and measure Earth flat when they're trying to respond to us about how flat Earth isn't. Yeah? So everything that she's grifting you with ether has flat earth evidence attached that she could be pointing out but isn't. Know your scumbags.
Moon and planets move in spirals, which are almost but not quite circles. Coining a word, we may say that those bodies which are called planets or wanderers sometimes spiral round the south center when they have south declination. They all...
Sorry, south? Did she say south? I mean, it sounds like she's never used a compass. I mean, I was a Boy Scout. I've had plenty of compasses. South? Like that way? So is that way? If I'm an Australian, do I get my compass and look up when I get my compass? Now, compass is a flat earth tool. Yet the second you use these axiomatic directions, you're describing and can only describe a flat earth with them. Now, is Karen pointing that out? No. But I've already told you. Does the person take what they say and utilise it to prove that Earth's being measured flat? Or do they try and shill you an ether with this flat Earth prerequisite directionality? I'm pretty sure she's trying to grift and shill ether to you rather than pointing out a flat Earth only direction. What are we doing? You don't have to buy anything. I give you a couple of options. You know, you don't have to become a member. You can find out Earth's measured flat. Take 35 seconds to go and verify that by way of any Earth measurement ever, and then bugger off. You don't have to be here. I don't care. Yeah? My channel still continues to grow. I've got plenty of support. I just about keep the rent paid, keep the roof over my head, and I'm satisfied with that, right? That's all right. I don't care. I don't have to grift you and con you and fraud you with crap like a suggested debate that utilises the flat Earth measurements I know we all use. Like north and south. Yeah? You think those are anything to do with anything other than a flat surface? No, they're not. But yeah, but there's going to be certain people in a flat earth community that never point this stuff out to you. Just unsubscribe from them. If you're a dyed-in-the-wood flat earther and you know Earth's measured flat, why are you subscribed to these people? Do you just want to be frauded? You're just a bit stupid, right? You like con men, right? Didn't you want to turn your back on people like that? Yeah, they're still here though, aren't they? Leading us as opposition. Interesting, isn't it, when you can look in from the outside? Yeah? Like at these other numpties arguing about flat Earth. The one that we all know, that's us. Not you, us, over here. We know it's measured flat because you measured it flat, yeah? But you still want to argue with, not us, Karen, yeah? Well, good for you. You got my permission to use the flat Earth measurements, as I told you earlier. But we're done with you. We don't need you anymore.
all revolve much in the same way as the sun, the motion of which has already been explained.
Did I hear the dulcet tones of a Brian?
Yeah, just a moment. Are we covering? Is this Karen B? And did she say earlier, according to you, did she say that we measure the Earth not to be a globe? Is that the best she could do?
That's what she said, yes. Unbelievable.
Wow.
I've started calling her a shill. You're like, if your rhetoric is we measure Earth to not be a ball, we measure horses to not be unicorns. What? Yeah, you're a shill. Get lost.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. It couldn't be more obvious. I mean, we're proving the Earth is flat over here for 10 years, and over there, the globe gripped us. What are they doing now? Giving people the option of it could be flat or a globe, but don't forget the ether.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a freaking outrage, isn't it?
Yes.
Did you want to add something, Neil? Go ahead. Or was it one deck?
No, just continue playing. It gets better.
There are, however, some peculiarities or special characteristics in their orbits, especially in that of the moon.
Orbital motion is derived from flat plane measurements and radial values. She mentioned Huygens earlier. Now, I wondered if she'll ever get to what Huygens and various other characters she also mentioned, we'll see if we have to bring up them again, what they're actually utilising. Huygens superimposed the radius of Earth, which gets measured flat, onto Venus for the transit, for the scale. That's what Huygens did. Now, again, the shills in the flat Earth arena, here to lead the opposition with garbage about luminiferous ether, won't point out that orbital motion requires flat Earth measurements. Now, once you've measured a flat Earth elevation angle to Polaris for its minimum, you can extrapolate out radial values to superimpose on Venus. Like, who did that? Oh, Huygens. Like Karen the shill mentioned. Now, she pointed out that Earth gets measured flat. No. But she's going to waffle through the book and talk about orbits, making you, her audience member, very familiar and comfortable with these terms. These terms that aren't having a flat Earth prerequisite measurement pointed out in association with them. It's an outrage. Yeah, now I'm talking to you, Karen. Bugger off. This isn't your community, right? Now, if you're here because you're a paid shill, then there's not much I can do about that, can I, you witch? But what I can do is point out the shillery that I perceive when you babble on about this crap that has plenty of flat Earth measurements associated. Evil in ball rhetoric. Like the Huygens radial value superimposed on Venus. Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth measurement for that. Yeah, you're never going to point that out, though, are you, Karen? Which is why I'm telling you to get lost. Yeah, we'll take it from here, thanks. The ones that know Earth's flat and get our opponents to measure it for us flat. Yeah, we'll take it from here, love. You can go back to talking to Bigfoot clowns. Yeah, grift them with your ether crap, because we're done with you. The flat Earth community, yeah, it's not Jaren anymore. He disappeared back to the ball, just like you, just another shill here, ready to say, oh, it's a ball after all. I mean, after measuring Earth flat with elevation angles in Antarctica, what other conclusions can I draw? Yeah, that's a shill. Yeah? So the actual flat earthers, the ones left, yeah, we are the only ones who say matters. We say get lost with your luminiferous ether. You crazy witch. We're sick of your fraud. Yeah? So bugger off. We'll take it from here with the flat earth measurements that all of our opponents are affirming.
Which will take 2 or 3 chapters to go into more fully, and so we must leave the moon's motions for a future consideration.
Earth's measured flat for the moon's motions as well. Ugh, it's elevation angle measurements. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. Right, Earth's measured flat for all of this crap. Orbital motion, heliocentric derivations of angles, in this case to the moon, gives you their motion. What's the motion being tracked with? A flat plane of reference. There are no exceptions. Earth's measured flat. Yeah, Karen B, I'll just keep saying it. She's a scumbag, a fraud, a charlatan. She's never going to point this stuff out to you, but she will take very low-hanging Earth that's measured flat fruit and turn it into an ether scam. We've seen it for 10 years and we're sick of it. Why have we got so many freaking frauds in our community? It's ours now, right? I'm looking at you, my audience. This is our community now, right? The frauds, the little sleepers that have been here making our lives miserable on the flat Earth side, they've all exposed themselves. It's just us now. It literally is our community. You, and I'm talking to my audience, you need to take ownership of what we now possess. It's not their shilly, ether-based community anymore. They are absolutely in the minority, being killed off intentionally as the controlled opposition shills that they always were. They're saying Earth that's flat is dead. We are, that's us, saying Earth's always been measured flat. So know your strength, my community. Take ownership. Seize this moment. Because it's not Jaron in charge. It's not Patricia Steer leading the charge. It's you. You know it's flat. That's powerful. But if you get tangled up in the fraud and charlatanism of scammy, scummy, ether-based crap that uses endless, low-hanging, flat earth-proving measurements to grift others with ether, then you can get lost too, just like Karen's being told to. Get lost, you're not welcome here. All I want to see around me is the people that I love, because there are aspects while I'm getting all angry that I can very easily flip the script and go, I love my actual community. The people who show me genuine support. And they're all the same. They're the people who know it's flat, that know it's flat. Yeah, they're embracing life for different reasons because they've moved past the is it or isn't stage. You can't not know it if you know how it's measured. Yeah, that's the pain. The same pain that people like Simon Dan experience when they have to apologise for how flat they measure it is the same joy that every person I experience on a daily basis in my community, the ones I'm appealing to know your power, the power of turning your back on these idiots, the Duffys of the world. Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, sorry you emailed Duffy. I didn't even read it. Why? Because I couldn't give a toss about you anymore. You're inconsequential to me because I know how it's measured and so do you. For you, it's a painful pill that you've got to try and get around and justify how, yeah, we can measure it Earth flat, but that's fine because it's just negligible curvature when we measure it. I mean, you can do that. We've moved past that. And there's a lot of power in being able to express that to next man. No, I don't argue about Earth being flat. You feel free, numpty. We know it's measured. You measure it flat if you're talking to an anti-flat earther. What do you mean I measure it flat? You and your Simon Dan have ruined a globe because you measured it flat 1,000 times, you bunch of numpties. So know what Earth is moving forward if you're my audience. Know that there aren't any exceptions to how it gets measured. It's been flat. Every single measurement we've ever made of it. There aren't any exceptions, and every measurement that ever gets made of it moving forward will be flat. There's a reason why you can relax into your armchair like I'm doing. You don't have to make 1,000 edits to your video like Simon Dan when you spew about how Earth is measured flat and your opponents are confirming it. Then life's easy. You don't have to stumble over your words and edit it out 1,000 times for the 1,000 flat Earth measurements that you made. Yeah? This is me figuring out why everyone in my comments was moaning about how heavily edited my video was. No, it weren't. That was Dan struggling to find the words to express how it's okay to measure Earth flat. Yeah? That required quite some editing. At me, I just used it as it was. It had a lot of edits in it. With Dan admitting that Earth's okay to be measured flat locally because of the negligible curvature. That's what you've got to deal with when you measure Earth flat. But we, my audience, the ones I'm appealing to right now, we know it's flat. We don't need these dickheads in our lives anymore. Yeah? But we also don't need the other dickheads that allege to be flat earthers like Karen here. We don't need her in our lives either. The frauds that allege to be flat earthers, right? Most of them exposed themselves. Karen here will continue to ignore every single flat earth measurement that she's utilising to grift some garbage about free energy. That's all this really is.
At present, proceeding with our explanation of the two vortices, we will further illustrate them by showing the action of two cogwheels when working together in harmony. This diagram, number 6, showing two cogwheels interlocking or working together on their respective shafts or centers, may roughly illustrate the action of the two great currents or sets of currents flowing around the north and south centers like two great vortices. The upper wheel may represent the circles or lines of forces revolving around the north center as represented by the belt ABC.
Mathematically, they're both flat, right? These cogs, regardless of how shite this is, it requires planes of reference to describe them. Flat planes of reference, that's how these motions get described. Obviously, rather than doing what I did earlier, which is point out all of the flat Earth prerequisites that are required, what's she doing? Moving straight onto the luminiferous ether with demonstrations that utilise flat-only reference frames and ignores that they're flat. Doesn't even mention it. Yeah? So we've got Earth being utilised, measured and described mathematically as flat with planes of reference. Is it being pointed out? No. It's being used to grift ether. That's right. Yeah. If you still subscribe to it, you're just thick. Yeah? You like being conned.
This great belt will represent the magnetic force revolving around the Earth between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer, while the lesser belt, GH, may represent similar forces revolving around the Arctic Circle.
Sorry, where did we get the equator? I mean, is it something to do with Huygens' extrapolations of our base values to impose onto Venus? Oh, yeah, I mentioned it earlier, didn't I? I mean, Karen's just going to keep reading. Yeah, no mentions of the flat Earth prerequisites, minimum elevation angles of a flat surface plane. No, nothing. Yeah, just show a diagram that's prerequisite flat Earth measurement utilising, and don't even mention it. Know your con man.
The lower wheel illustrates similar lines or belts of force revolving around the southern center. The broader belt, DEF, showing the position of those forces between the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn, and the lesser belt, JK, those about the Antarctic Circle. The spokes of the wheels may represent meridians, which, according to the testimony already adduced, must converge south of the equator as well as north.
All I hear I don't know what to do because I know it's probably going to be irritating my audience if I keep pausing it, but every second word she says is a flat Earth prerequisite.
Of course, in the case of the two wheels, the cogs would be rigid, being made of solid wood or metal, but the great magnetic currents are not rigid, but play into one another at the points of contact about the so-called equator.
They're all queer. We're all clear that this is now being utilised to describe magnetic vortices and motions in etheric, whatever, as opposed to Earth's measured flat. Mathematically being utilised in terms of the planes of reference on the diagrams, it's being described mathematically flat. Yep, it's not being pointed out in any way, shape or form that this can only be described, wrong that it is, but mathematically flat Earth only. Now we will take our opponent's examples like Huygens in this example and point out where they need a flat Earth. That ain't being done here, is it? No. The whole purpose of this text is to shill you ether. That's its only purpose. It ain't here to point out how Earth's required to be flat in all of these descriptions. Nah, that ain't its focus. If you want a book like that, buy my book when it comes out.
This has already been explained in a previous chapter on the sun's motion.
On the sun's motion, right? Not about how the motion of the sun gets measured with a flat Earth prerequisite like this. This is what they measured. Elevation angles. This is how Dan measured Earth 1,000 times. This is how they measured Earth for 24 hours in Antarctica. This is a flat Earth elevation angle to track the motion of the sun. What's Karen talking about? Oh, well, she's talking about the motions, but just ignoring the flat Earth prerequisites, the ones that we point out.
The sun, being a comparatively small, light electric body, is carried around by one set of currents in the south until partly by its momentum and
it's littered with red herrings. So here we go. Now I've got to maybe challenge that she doesn't know that's the case. So what, do I chase down this red herring? Nah. I just do it again. Earth's measured flat. In this example, he gives a toss about the size that we perceive the sun to be. Who cares? We measure Earth flat with it, right? The motions are described with respect to the motions we track with elevation angles. Measured off a flat plane, that's how Earth always gets measured. It always will get measured that way. If you feel that I'm wrong, yeah, there's been a few contenders, yeah? We're far enough into the game you all think that we've created for me to point out where it wasn't a game, I was just right, and any attempt to make it seem like a game will end in you just affirming how right I am. For example, Toon, Dave McKeegan, Will Duffy, All of these numpties. Oh, Jaren. Measured Earth flat in Antarctica. Yeah? With this. It's an elevation angle measurement to the sun. Imagine the sun going around and around for 24 hours. Yeah? Yeah? Just imagine it going round and round, and then measuring the angle with a little number next to it with a little degree symbol. Well, what forms the angle? Well, the flat Earth that is a prerequisite part of the measurement. It's a surface level measurement. It's part of the angle that they measured. So Earth was always being measured flat. This is part of the description, this old crap description that Karen's giving and whistling past the flat Earth measurements that are needed to describe it with. Yeah, that's right. There's plenty of flat Earth proof in this, but it ain't being highlighted. It's being whistled past, just like the game would need to be set out. Everyone measures Earth flat, and that's fine, so long as one side says, well, it's not a ball, and the other side says, well, it is a ball. As long as everybody accepts that Earth gets measured flat and nobody ever mentions it, then there's the perception of a debate, isn't there? Meanwhile, everyone's always measuring Earth flat on both sides. So we're done here. There never was really any point in us being here. There wasn't a discussion. We were just part of a controlled narrative that made it seem like there was a debate. But everybody outside the debate was also measuring Earth flat. Yeah, if you were surveying Earth, you were surveying it flat. If you were using the angles for the motions of the stars on a map, then you were using the angles off a flat Earth. If you were charting the ground with the maps, then you were charting it with respect to these systems that we use, the stars and elevation angles, measured off a flat Earth to create. That is to say, the Earth is charted flat, the Earth is flown across flat, it's sailed across flat, and we build on it flat and survey it flat. So Earth's measured flat then. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if anti-flat earthers, otherwise known as globeheads, and flat earthers, oh my god, people like Karen, argue about Earth being perceived to be flat. It was always being measured flat, and anybody outside the discussion will continue to measure Earth flat. It's the reason I say there will come a point, not necessarily in my lifetime, I've no idea, where every member of society goes, yeah, we always knew it was flat. Because it was, and nothing changes. The entire time we've had ball Earth rhetoric about us flying around the sun on a ball, everybody still functionally used a flat Earth and measured it flat, and that's never changed. No alterations were made to how Earth got measured, while those Earth that's been measured flat measurements got used to create the ball. It's quite the other way around, right? Weird how it turns out that the Earth that's measured flat was the thing always being measured and is needed to be measured to create a ball for you to believe in. And then argue with somebody about whether or not Earth's flat based on the measurements that you'll always be measuring. Yeah, there wasn't ever a debate. And everybody outside of the perceived debate that we're in this little pond having with our brothers in arms, Simon, Dan and Craig. Yeah, we're all in the same pond. A pond that's been dug so it can be perceived that there's an argument. And everyone outside the pond can carry on measuring Earth flat quite happily and surveying Earth flat quite happily and flying over Earth flat quite happily and sailing on Earth flat happily and charting Earth flat quite happily because they're not involved in this little pond, this pathetic pretend debate, are they? What do? They just measure Earth flat. And what does Simon Dan do in the pond? Even in the debate, well, he measures Earth flat, doesn't he? Yeah, everybody does. There's no exception.
Partly by its magnetism, it is projected into another set of currents in the north. Now, if the northern currents go around in one direction, the direction indicated by the arrows, it is clear that the southern currents must go around in an opposite direction so that the two currents may work together in harmony. And this agrees with the facts previously brought forward from the testimony of those in the south. If a
Sorry, this agrees with the testimony? What people said, right? I don't care. Measurements are what we go by here, and yeah, the measurements are flat. Beyond that, it's kind of irrelevant what you speculate about. I mean, who cares? But that's why we're telling you to get lost. Maybe you didn't hear us.
Spectator in the north looks towards his center, he will see those celestial orbs which have north declination rise.
So flat Earth measurements then. Yeah, completely whistle past these prerequisite flat Earth measurement. Declination. Yeah, those are flat Earth measurements. Not even getting mentioned.
in the east on his right hand, but if a spectator in the southern
Flat Earth
circle
directions.
looks towards his south center, he
Flat Earth
sees the southern constellations and the sun rising in the east, but on his left hand, thus the two
Rising, that's a flat Earth. That's the flat Earth measurement. East, flat Earth prerequisite. Everything she's saying is prerequisite flat Earth. It's flat Earth proof. It's never going to get a mention. These people are shills. We're surrounded by them.
vortices work together in harmony, as we have illustrated in the Cogwheels. Respecting the ether, we may briefly state that our own conclusions are that all motion can be traced to the circulating movement of the ether, and that the ether is therefore substantial, or in other words, a finer form of matter, something approaching the spiritual.
Oh, really? I mean, it sounds like you're a freaking hippie to me. Yeah, you've decided to manifest this ether as something that's real because you say so. Oh, right, because it was discussed to be correct. And therefore it's akin to spirituality. Piss off, you freaking hippie. Get out of my community. We talk about Earth being measured flat. You had plenty of opportunity. There was plenty of prerequisite flat Earth proof in the text you just read. And instead you talked about your spirituality, you sandal-wearing hippie witch. Get lost. Earth's measured flat. There's plenty of evidence for it. You're reading some of it. Some of the things you're describing. Declination. Oh, what's that, Karen? You crazy fraud. Get lost. You're not welcome here anymore. Right, we're at the hour point, so anybody got anything to add? No? Comments from anybody?
There's not much to say, Nathan. You know what I mean? She's just pushing more bullshit.
It's incredibly disheartening because what was something that 5 years ago I'd have fought for, like, oh man, I'd like to be in the community that people call Flat Earth. No, I never needed to be in that community. That community was here to grift ether and gather people up to disband them and send them back to the ball. And that's what's happened. So, you know, there was a point that I mourned my exclusion from a community that was never going to benefit from me being in there because it was designed to be collapsed, wasn't it? And, you know, the culmination of what TFE stands for has done that. So we were never going to be part of that community. But that now it's fallen means that the community that I appealed to earlier in this live show is the community. Not the fringe stragglers like Karen. Us. We're that community now.
Well, I think her intent or her purpose is to end the whole thing by turning it into, not end it, by turn the whole thing into, is it ether or is it gravity debate? Away from whether it's flat or no. That's really all I'm getting out of anything she ever does. And the same with the rest of them. They've voiced all of them, they're all at the same thing. They used the flat earth as a springboard for the first few years, and then it's on to ether. And let's have a debate about whether something is caused by gravity or ether. It's total and utter horsemanship.
Yeah.
Typical Glober, just not talking about, you know, they all want to talk about the sky and what's going on up there. She's supposed to be flat earth, but she's not even talking about the earth and how it's measured and how flat it is and how we use it flat. Just talking about totally irrelevant nonsense.
Any more for any more?
All I'd say as an ending point is, if they're not producing measurements of proof, geometric proof that the Earth is can be described and can only be described correctly as flat, then they're either too inept to be trusted or they're complete frauds. That's the only way. That's the only options. There is no middle, no grey area. It's either one or the other.
Yeah, completely agree. They're either talking about it being flat or they're a shill, to put it more succinctly. But with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.